High stretch thing.
Survive 5.
Hall of Famer Tito Santana, hoping to give.
Hello, hey guys.
Hello there, my very good friends, ATB and Tan, Till 5.
Wedding my jeans, bro!
Whoop whoop! We're back. It's Till 5 Wrestling. I've got an exciting announcement for Till 5 Tan here, folks. Tanner, you will be excited to know that I have scheduled at least one Juggalo-related segment for the rest of the season.
It's almost like I've lost a bet, but I didn't. We're living in Russo land.
Well, bro, that's how things go here. So
We'll check it out.
You're going to get the joy of starting out with a look back on JCW Lunacy right now.
Wonderful. We're starting hot.
Yeah. So the show starts off. We get a recap of last week. Too Tough Tony retained the belt. Kerry Morton showed up as Bigfoot to screw his dad out of a Battle Royal title.
Can we talk about the giant Battle Royal title?
Oh, I love it. I think it's great.
It's just so outlandish. I can't help but to love it.
Yeah, I kind of want one myself. It looked like a regular belt on me.
It makes Ricky Morton look very tiny.
Yeah. It looks like Kerry could ride it and go sledding.
Literally. He probably could.
So we get a speech from Violent J to start the show, showing you the regular cast of clowns, as it is for JCW. You get Caleb Conley and Jeeves. You've got Jasmine St. Clair, Willie Mack, Matt Cross. Big Matt Cross fan here, so I love him.
Always been a big fan.
Yeah. The investor pulls up in a limo. Show starts. We're going to open up with Mr. Happy. That is a big guy in a happy face mask with
That's part of the Sinclair Monster Corporation, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Against Willie Mack, the Chocolate Juggalo,
who has phoned it in tremendously here on JCW.
Willie Mack wins.
Uh-huh.
I actually really liked Mr. Happy. I thought that was fun. He's kind of psychotic. I get it. We're good with that.
It works for us.
Yeah. We get Jasmine St. Clair, and she's telling the monster business she's going to handle some monster factory, whatever. She's going to go handle some business. She's got to talk to the investor. She's going to get in that limo. But we get Caleb Conley and Jeeves against the Outbreak. My favorite tag team.
So obviously I watched this show for our show.
I have told you for weeks.
Dude, when Caleb Conley's knocking on Jeeves' door and Jeeves says, "No, they're not alive. I don't want to come out." I was crying laughing.
It was a blast.
That was fun.
And Caleb Conley and Jeeves, they lose to Barnabas in the Outbreak.
It's super fun.
It is, dude. Barnabas bringing out his undead. It works, man. This little group works. I want to see Barnabas have more freaks.
I'll tell you what really works for me with it is that Jeeves sold his fear for the entire match.
Yeah, and then ends up getting pulled in.
Yeah.
It worked perfect. That is the beauty of this show, is the pacing.
And the pacing was great. I'll give you that.
And simple storytelling.
Yeah.
Like I said, Sinclair, Jasmine Sinclair, St. Clair. I keep wanting to call her Sinclair. Sorry.
Yeah, St. Clair.
Yeah, St. Clair. My bad. It's Sinclair Broadcasting sticks in my brain.
I was going to say Ring of Honor stuff, baby.
Yeah, that's what it is.
When she goes to the limo this time, you hear a familiar voice.
You do, but you can't quite place it.
No, you can't. But you're like, I know this voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get Alacran and Mega Mosca losing to Stephen Flo and the Devil's favorite dealer, Cocaine.
And they're calling that team Flowcane, which I think is awesome.
I know you're a Stephen Flo fan.
I love Stephen Flo.
You thought it was cool. I'm not a Stephen Flo fan, but I love
think
cocaine.
because I hate Pearl Jam, so I think that's a hilarious gimmick.
Well, I hate Pearl Jam so much that I hate the gimmick. So.
That's fair, but can you? To me, I sort of compare cocaine and Stephen Flo as like X-Pac and Kane.
Well, yeah, that's what it is, pretty much.
Very much so. Yeah, I loved it though.
Of course, Flo Kane gets the win. Jasmine St. Clair's leaving the limo. Too Tough Tony's trying to figure out who this investor is. Jay tells him to trust him. So Jay goes out to the limo. Sorry, I skipped a match there. Chuck Yeager, Congo Kong, Captain Mike Blackskull, and Ninja Mac. This is my low point of the whole show. I hated Captain Mike.
The pirate gimmick popped me big.
I couldn't stand it. This was my real low point. I love that they never mentioned Chuck Yeager's name after the initial. It's like Veda Scott and Joe Dombrowski forgot his name too.
Yep.
Speaking of which, I love the commentary team.
Yeah, Veda Scott's awesome. Joe Dombrowski's great. Awesome commentary team.
Yeah, 100%. JCW has all the right pieces. So I'm really excited to see where they go. As we get closer to this investor being revealed. Main event, Matt Cross and Too Tough Tony.
Yep.
I love Matt Cross. I'm not a Too Tough Tony fan, so I'll be happy when we get a new champion.
I will say that before that match happened, Violent J goes to the limo, and when he goes out to the limo, the Outbreak is trying to get into the limo.
Oh, yeah, you love that.
They're crawling all over the limo, and Barnabas is like, come on, guys, get out of the limo.
I love that the Outbreak won you over.
Very fast.
Yeah. On paper, it sounds dumb.
When you first told me about the gimmick, I said, this is so stupid. And it took one match before I was like, all right, these guys are great.
Yeah, they get it, man. They do. It's character work and perfect. So we get into Tough Tony wins. The investor is revealed. And it's Big Vito.
It's our friend Big Vito.
Friend of the channel. Big Vito. Right. Vito comes out, or Vito's backstage. He got to take a piss first before coming out.
Yeah, he's got to go piss.
He's got to go piss, and he gets back there, and you've got cocaine doing cocaine in the bathroom.
And Vito flips out.
Well, you can't be doing this here.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of the show. When he first goes into the bathroom, Stephen Flo is tuning a bass guitar.
At the sink.
As one
does.
Which is just, the visual of that alone made me laugh. And then in the background, you notice cocaine snorting something, and Vito throws a fit.
Yeah. And not just a little bit. Like, he's got a mound on his arm there.
Yeah, cocaine does a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, cocaine likes to party, man. And, of course, we fire him, and that's the cliffhanger. At the end of the show is we fired an established JCW guy. This new investor is Vito. What the hell? Where did Vito get the money for this?
Well, I guess we'll find out soon.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Well, here's the thing. I've tried really hard to hate it. I tried. I went into this show with a bad attitude. And once the hour and 26-minute show was up, I have to tell you, I left with a smile on my face. I thought the show was awesome. I think the pacing was better than WWE and AEW currently. Story development is happening so fast with all characters.
It's almost like a writer is helping out with this show.
It's almost like watching the 90s in WWF, where everybody from top to bottom had a character.
And everybody mattered.
Yeah.
That's what we want in wrestling.
Yeah. And it makes me interested to watch more. I'm willing to continue down this Juggalo rabbit hole.
That's good.
To see what happens. Now I need to know what happens.
Well, and at any point, if you start to venture away from this, I will just remind you that we can always contact our good friends at Green Hemp Company to help get you what you need to enjoy all of the Juggalo Championship and might even enjoy the WWE. If you would just contact them and go rolling in the foothills of the
I wouldn't
Smokies,
get that far.
you call them at 423-609-7138. Maybe they could make you like Dirty Dom and the Slim Jim logo all over a wrestling ring.
I love the Slim Jim tables.
Yeah, man. Go by and see him at 2560 East Andrew Johnson Highway, Suite 3 in Greenville, Tennessee. Tell them Till 5 sent you, and tell them that Till 5 said that the WWE still sucks.
That's right. And probably always will for the remainder of time.
Well, I'm sorry. WWE has never been that great. I've never been a fan of
They were
their
just
product.
the only show in town for a long time.
We've covered the JCW segment. I can switch over to Till 5.
You can switch to a Till 5 hat now. Good. Yeah. I see what you're doing. We've moved up in Till 5. We have wardrobes now.
Yeah. It's not enough that I've got like 17 tie-dyes. Now I need 17 hats.
There you go, to match the 17 tie-dyes.
Yeah, I'm a man of many hats.
Well, speaking of a man of many hats, we have been talking a little bit about Don Callis, so let's get into some more Callis family history with the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Archer.
Or Lance Hoyt.
Or Lance Rock.
Or Dallas.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So
Big D.
He worked the Indies before he joined TNA in 2004, and he debuted in TNA as Kid Cash's bodyguard Dallas.
I remember this.
Yep, they would go on to win the NWA TNA tag team titles twice. Fun. Good way for him to cut his teeth with a good worker like Kid Cash.
And it's a good spot for a big guy. Like the tag team worked really well. It was very reminiscent of a Shawn Michaels and Diesel.
And once Kid Cash took that WWF deal, or WWE deal, sorry, he'd begin working as Lance Hoyt, and he really started to get over as a singles talent.
Dude, the crowd back in the day chanting Hoyt.
Yeah.
Would you look Hoyt, 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 Hoyt? It was great. Loved it.
Hoytomania, dude.
Yes. You'd see Hoytomania flags in the crowd.
They loved it.
Yeah.
So not too long after that, he began working alongside Voodoo Kin Mafia as their bodyguards. That was sort of brief, and it was leading to something, and we'll get to that in a moment. He began becoming very close with Christy Hemme.
Yeah, and we would get the Rock and Rave infection.
And that would lead us to the Rock and Rave infection, which would be their first feud, of course, being with VKM.
Man, and I liked the Rock and Rave infection. It was stupid, but it was fun.
It was funny. He would change his name to Lance Rock around this time, and that would last about 2 years. They were sort of a jobber tag team, although Rave and Hoyt both were seriously good workers.
Yeah. Jimmy Rave never got the opportunities he deserved in the business, I don't think.
I think a lot of Jimmy Rave. We'll touch on him eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah. Jimmy gets his love here.
Now that fizzled out because Jimmy would go back to Ring of Honor around this time for a brief stint. And Lance Hoyt would sign with the WWE in 2009. Boo!
Yeah. He'd go there, FCW and ECW as Vance Archer.
He would very briefly be in developmental, which at that time was strange.
They brought him up to that ECW brand.
Yeah, which I guess it was sort of its own developmental. He would become Vance Archer, and very quickly he would start an alliance and start teaming with Kurt Hawkins. They were called the Gate Crashers.
Cut some of that hair off. That was a big shocker for everybody then too.
Like his long hair.
Yeah, because that's Vince McMahon.
But like I said, he was with Kurt Hawkins for a bit, and that really just didn't last long. He was released by 2010. He was there. I don't even think he was there a year.
And then he'd go to New Japan.
He would go to New Japan, where the fun really started for me.
Well, I think that's where Archer finally really got to be himself.
Well, big muscular Americans in Japan do real good.
Yeah.
And Archer was that guy. So he would join New Japan. He would quickly become a member of Suzuki Gun, which of course was Minoru Suzuki's stable.
Yeah, didn't he team with A-Train?
No, actually, he would start teaming with Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Yeah.
About 6 months after he joined. I don't think there was an A-Train team. Carl Anderson teamed with A-Train.
Okay.
But he would start teaming with Davey Boy Smith Jr. as the Killer Elite Squad. They would go on to hold the IWGP Tag Team titles 3 times, and during a working relationship would actually hold the Pro Wrestling Noah Tag Team Championships twice, which is pretty cool. And that just kept trucking. They were real dominant in New Japan until Davey Boy Smith decided he was going to leave in 2019, leaving Archer to become a singles wrestler. Now, a lot of people thought This is the end of Lance Archer.
I'll be honest, I didn't see that there was a lot of a future for him.
Well, it turns out that once they created the IWGP United States Championship, Lance Archer had bangers with Will Ospreay, with Jay White, with Jon Moxley, with pretty much Juice Robinson, pretty much everybody they threw at him.
Yeah. And then AEW kind of gave him another life.
And between there, he would become a two-time IWGP US champ. He would come into AEW, like you said, managed by Jake Roberts. At first appeared like it was going to be a really big deal. And they elevated him to the upper mid-card main event. He had a lot of title matches, had a lot of title feuds, never won.
He was kind of a King Kong Bundy for that era of AEW. He was a bigger guy that could work and sell a match, and it didn't hurt him to lose.
He was also credible in multiple different companies prior to joining AEW.
Yeah.
And he's still there to this day, of course. Now he's with the Don Callis family. Sort of they're heavy. He was teaming with Brian Cage as part of the Murder Machines until Cage unfortunately injured his knee.
Yeah.
That seemed like it was going to be a lot of fun. But right now he's basically just Don Callis' heavy, which is totally okay. At least he's on TV every week.
And I really like Lance Archer. I hope that Cage comes back and we get them as a tag team again, really.
I hope so too, because that was working for me.
Yeah, we'll see what's next. Hopefully he won't be featured on one of these segments as the next mid thing someday, though. So the next mid thing, Ahmed Johnson. Let me just start out by saying I was a big Ahmed Johnson fan back in the day.
He had a great look.
He had the look. Yep. Loved the Pearl River Plunge.
Yep.
Had great. Started out with a good rivalry with Farouk and the Intercontinental title run. It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
And I really felt like he was going to be something. I thought that the Hell Freezes Over pay-per-view, I think it was, I thought we were going to get Ahmed as a main event guy from there on.
Well, he came in really hot when he joined WWF in '95. He would get big wins over Jeff Jarrett, Owen Hart, Yokozuna. We thought he was on the right path here.
Well, he wasn't. He ended up becoming kind of an injury bug, really.
Well, he won the Intercontinental Championship pretty fast, defeating Goldust, the King of the Ring. He was the first African-American Intercontinental Champion, which really is his big claim to fame. Outside of that, he never really,
Yeah.
He was scheduled to have a WWF title match against The Undertaker after winning a Battle Royal, and like you said, got bit by the injury bug.
And that seemed to be the case for him pretty often. Every time he got close to the main event, he would end up with an injury. He ended up joining the Nation of Domination for a little bit, which made no sense after feuding with them for years.
Well, then he would end up feuding with them again after getting injured a second serious time.
Of course.
Where he was replaced by Rocky Maivia.
And eventually, they'd release him. He'd go to WCW, where he would come in as Big T, substantially more out of shape than he had been.
Substantially much bigger.
Yeah.
Not in a healthy way.
No. Came in as Harlem Heat 2000, and it sucked.
It really sucked, and it didn't last long.
He worked some indies till 2003, and that was pretty much the end of his career.
Just now is he starting to pop up at signings again. He sort of disappeared for about 20 years.
Yeah. I don't hate him. Like, I liked him. He was a mid-card fun guy right there with Mark Marrow.
Had it not been for his ongoing weight problems in the late 90s and early 2000s, I really think we could have seen a better Ahmed Johnson in WCW.
I think if he hadn't got that injury in 97, he probably would have been the first black WWF champion.
Yeah.
But
didn't pan out
things
that
change.
way.
Yeah, things don't always work out like we want them to. It's not always going to be a fantasy.
Well, it's not just, we don't just do the next mid thing. It's not just about guys that sucked. Sometimes the injury bug plays a part in this.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but that's part of it.
Well, Matt Morgan was one that neither one of us were a big fan of. He just never got over. Ahmed had potential, but the injuries kept him from getting over.
Ahmed did get over for a bit. He was teaming up with the Road Warriors. He was over.
Yeah, WrestleMania 13, him coming out there in those shoulder pads.
It's badass, man.
Yeah.
Cool visual.
Tossing PG-13 and all the lackeys of the Nation of Domination around. It was fun times.
Yep, good times.
Now, we do have Shoots Giving coming up here in a couple of weeks, but we like to do tournaments. At the end of the year, we're doing a greatest manager of all time tournament.
Yes.
That's why the Tanager times are going to be here for a while. So, Tan, this week, why don't you tell us about Miss Elizabeth?
So this is pretty simple for Miss Elizabeth. In 1984, she married Randy Savage in real life. In 1985, she would begin managing him in WWF. She managed him to win the Intercontinental Championship in '86. She and Savage allied with Hulk Hogan, which would lead to a feud over Miss Elizabeth, as Savage was very jealous. And once Savage turned heel, she managed Hogan and Brutus Beefcake briefly, while Savage would go on to be managed by Sherry Martel for his heel run.
Yeah, Macho King.
In the early 90s, she would manage Dusty Rhodes during his feud with Savage.
Yeah, I remember.
In 91, her and Savage would reunite on screen.
Yeah.
Big deal. They had an on-screen wedding, the first on-screen wrestling wedding, which is really cool.
Well, and it didn't exactly end up real great when Jake Roberts got involved.
No, my mom actually talks about that a lot, as that genuinely scared her when she was growing up, when the snake bit Randy, because it really bit him.
Yeah. Well, they wanted it to look real, so Savage was like, let it bite me.
So funny enough, the very next year, her and Savage would divorce in real life, and she would leave wrestling for a few years.
Until she would pop up in
WCW in 1996. She would come in to manage Savage for his feud with Hulk Hogan, but very quickly she would turn on Savage and briefly join the Four Horsemen as their man, alongside Woman, which really didn't make sense.
Well, it was because Flair was pulling Savage's lady away from him, was the story there, of course. Woman was with Benoit, so Flair needed his own arm candy.
So, in September of 96, she joined the New World Order alongside Hulk Hogan.
Because everybody joined the NWO.
Yeah. But she seemed to still care very deeply for her ex-husband, Randy Savage, and eventually joined his side when he too joined the NWO in February 97. And for much of 97, they feuded with Diamond Dallas Page and Kimberly Page.
Mm-hmm. And you would have thought that would have been Elizabeth's introduction into wrestling, like an actual match.
Well, in 98, her and Savage both would join the NWA Wolfpack. But in June 98, they would part ways once again because she would join NWO Hollywood and she would start accompanying Eric Bischoff to the ring for a few months.
Yeah, poor Liz. She just got passed around as arm candy for different
They didn't really know what to do with her.
No, I mean, honestly, that's pretty much all she was back then.
She attempted to get back with Savage once on WCW television, and he told her, and I quote, "I got over you a long time ago. I don't need you."
Well,
and that was the end of that until 99, when she began managing the Total Package Lex Luger.
And I actually liked that pairing. It would lead to unfortunate ends for Miss Elizabeth.
She would
career-wise,
WCW in 2000. She didn't want to be a wrestler. Russo booked her in a match. She wasn't interested. She would leave WCW in 2000.
Her one match with Daphne.
Yep.
That she ever had.
She would not reappear again until she briefly started appearing in World Wrestling Alliance in 2002, managing Lex once again. And
they were a real couple at that point.
Very, very shortly after that, she would pass away in early 2003, very tragically in a car accident.
It was unfortunate that Liz passed away as young as she was. I think she had a lot more to offer as far as a manager. At the very least, I felt like her and Lex deserved more time together because they really cared about each other.
Yeah, and a lot of people shit on Lex Luger for a long time over this, but we have to remember at the end of the day, Miss Elizabeth was also an adult, consenting adult.
Yeah, it was a choice. And Lex has even said that he carries some of the blame for that. And
I'm sure he will for the rest of his life. And as you know, Luger has become a changed man.
He's done his best to do right. So
has been very apologetic about the entire situation. And it breaks my heart for Lex. It really does.
Oh, yeah.
It really does.
But well, now that we've gone really somber, let's go ahead and head to our sponsors at Stover's Liquidation. You can go see them at 481 Tulsa Road in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, or call them at 865-523-4449. They've got liquidation, wholesale home improvement items, truckload quantities are available. They're open from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. They're closed on Sundays, but they're available 24 hours online at www.stoversliquidation.com.
Damn, I pulled a you, man. I took that real nice segment and turned it real somber by the end of it.
Yeah, I know.
We should have ended with that one. It just left the crowd hanging on that somber moment.
Yeah. Well, there was no good way to put her end of her life.
You just had to, report the facts. Sometimes you have to.
Now,
we are on a road of our own.
We started out this show talking about JCW Lunacy.
Uh-huh.
I really like JCW Lunacy. They're starting to win you over.
I'm trying.
Let's not forget that me and you are diehard AEW fans.
Since day one.
Yes, sir.
Before day one.
Right there.
Yep.
So
let's
let's
Young Bucks flag. Pre-day one AEW shit here.
Let's take a look at the road to AEW Blood and Guts.
That's right.
Now, Jamie Hayter called for it first.
Mm-hmm. And they sort of botched the announcement on that.
Absolutely.
They never gave him a graphic. I do understand the griping about that. Tony Khan definitely seems to forget the women sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like the women's one should have been officially announced before the men's.
Now,
and you could have been playing this up more with the tag team title tournament playing into it, because you don't want somebody to get hurt that might be winning the tag team title.
Now, with the ladies in this women's Blood and Guts, you are almost guaranteed to have a banger.
Oh God, yeah.
You got Jamie Hayter, Willow, Harley Cameron, Chris Statlander, Tony Storm, and Mina Shirakawa.
Let me just go ahead and say Willow is my favorite of that whole team. What about you? Who's your favorite on
Willow who's my favorite on that team?
Yeah. Let's get your favorite, Tan.
Probably Timeless Tony Storm, man. I'm a big Timeless Tony Storm fan. I'm also a big Mina Shirakawa fan.
Tony's probably my second. I'm not a big Harley Cameron fan.
Not really. She's entertaining, and that's about all she is to me.
Yeah. Statlander seems like a very nice person. I'm not sure that
Statlander's cool. She's fine.
Jamie Hayter's all right.
I really love.
I think I like the heels more.
I definitely like the heels more, because then you get Julia Hart, Sky Blue, Tekla, Megan Bain, Marina Shafir, and Mercedes Moné.
CEO.
Who's your favorite on that side?
Megan Bain, dude.
Yeah, I'm a huge Megan Bain fan. I'm a gigantic Tekla fan. Every week, Tekla wins me over more.
Okay.
I really like Tekla.
I really do like Tekla a lot.
But I've said it multiple times on the show. I am a money mark for Mercedes Moné.
I don't know that there's anybody on that team that I hate. I'm not a big Marina Shafir fan, but I think that's kind of the point.
If Marina is the weakest member on that team, then I'm not offended.
No.
Works for me. She has legitimacy from an MMA career, so that works for me.
Yeah. And before we get into the men, we have a Falls Count Anywhere match with Hangman and Hobbs.
You know that'll be fun.
That'll be a pleasant match.
Beat each other up all through the arena.
Well, that'll give us a chance to get real. They can clean up from Blood and Guts, from the first Blood and Guts match.
I do imagine they'll have to place Hangman and Hobbs in the middle of these.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not for the world title, so it's fine.
Yeah, no big deal.
Now, for the women's one, the build hasn't been as storyline driven as for the men.
They've just slapped together 6 baby faces against 6 heels.
Yeah, you've got, the Triangle of Madness has been running around on Collision for months, and that is what led to Jamie Hayter wanting this match. And somehow they ended up getting Marina Shafir, Mercedes Moné, and Megan Bain to be the backup.
I've got one complaint. If it was going to make sense for storyline purposes, I wish instead of Harley Cameron, they would have had Queen Amanada on that team. Because she's had many issues with Tekla and the Triangle of Madness. It would have made a lot more sense. She'd come to save Jamie Hayter a lot, even.
Honestly, you could have took out Statlander and put her in there, and it would have made just as much sense.
Well, I imagine you put Statlander in there because you put Mercedes in there, and we're heading towards Full Gear.
Yeah, I just feel like we could have took both of them and had them in a different segment on the show.
Yeah, you could have done a five person. You didn't have to do a six. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not complaining. It'll be fine. Now, the men's, however, we have built this story up for over a year.
Man, I'm not excited for the first time ever about this men's blood and guts.
I'm not either. I'm
genuinely not. You've got Darby Allin, you've got Roderick Strong, you've got Mark Briscoe, you've got Kyle O'Reilly, and you've got Orange Cassidy taking on the Death Riders.
That's the conglomeration with Roderick Strong and Darby Allin is what they're calling it.
Which
we're not conglomeration fans.
I'm really not. Like I appreciate that it gives these guys something to do. But there's just better shit that a lot of these guys could be doing.
Well, and they're going to be the defense against the Death Riders.
Right. Who in this case is Moxley, Claudio, Willer Yuta, Daniel Garcia, and
Pac.
And Pac, yes.
Yeah.
So, and that's the gist of it.
I think Roderick's turning.
I hope.
I think that this is the night that Roderick, because if Roderick turns on them tonight, maybe if Roderick and Kyle both, that would be a lot of fun.
I was actually going to say, what would be a really good swerve is if Kyle actually flipped.
Maybe, but if both of them walked out, that could be an interesting scene. I don't think that it would work as well because Kyle has been more defensive for his friends.
Babyface here.
Yeah.
Run, yeah.
But Roderick turning is great. I feel like, honestly, that could be a good opportunity to develop Kyle into a main event guy.
And Roddy is far better off as a heel.
Yeah. Because you can have Kyle and Roddy going at it at that point.
Have great matches, even.
Mark Briscoe, maybe he's a Don Callis family member in a couple of weeks.
We will find out once we get the Full Gear. I'm excited for the prospect of that match, even.
Orange Cassidy needs some new best friends. That's for sure.
Yeah, every time I see Orange Cassidy, I miss Chuck and Trent by his side. I really miss the best friends. It's a shame that Chuck had to retire. I guess.
Probably. There's always that might be able to come back.
I would appreciate, even if it was just Orange and Chuck teaming, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, the Orange and Darby work is a good tag team. We've seen that.
But we're never
on the house shows.
We're never going to credibly push them as a tag team, unfortunately, though, because we want both of them to be single stars.
Well, that's why we're going to introduce another mid-card title for them to have.
It's not necessarily the story. The story's there, I guess. The conglomeration has been around.
Well, the conglomeration are trying to stop the Death Riders. I thought the Death Riders would be stopped once Moxley lost the belt. Wasn't that the whole point? Wasn't that, he kept the belt from everybody because nobody was worthy of having it. Somebody's got the damn thing.
When I look at the men's, and I'm not talking about the women's is stacked. No question. But when I'm looking at the men's blood and guts this year, it really makes me it makes me miss Swerve Strickland. It makes me miss Will Ospreay. It makes me miss a healthy Kenny Omega.
You want to know the truth? Majority of the best guys for this match are in the Don Callis family right now.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have even minded if we would have pivoted into Don Callis family versus Death Riders at some point.
I hope that if Roderick doesn't turn, I hope that Don Callis family just shows up and destroys everybody at the end of the show.
Fuck it. That would be great.
Plant that flag, let them come in and destroy everybody. And then Don Callis can take the mic and say, I brought peace to AEW. Where's my Nobel Peace Prize?
And the next week, you can have Tony Khan forced to come out to the ring and give Don Callis a medal.
Yes. Yeah. 4-time Man of the Year, Don Callis, right there.
I mean, I'm sure match-wise it's going to be great. I'm over the Death Riders. It's not the guys that's in it. I'm just over it.
Yeah, it is a gimmick thing for us.
I'm over. I've really never been a fan of the conglomeration because the conglomeration is basically what that means to me is, okay, we've got 6 or 7 people in a stable because we don't know what else to do with them.
The conglomeration is the best friends without being best friends.
I mean, basically, but they don't have the fun and the chemistry of the best friends.
No, they have fun people, but it doesn't click.
I will never, ever, ever say a negative word about Mark Briscoe.
Though. Oh, hell no.
Ever.
No.
Never, ever.
Top 5, dead or alive.
Always. Even today, the Briscoes are still the greatest tag team of all time.
Well, we proved that.
Yeah, we proved that in a bracket. We sure did.
Yeah, we're going to have to decide for ourselves who the greatest manager is before we get into that. And
I will say that in lieu of what happened to Jay Briscoe, I have really enjoyed Mark Briscoe's AEW run.
Yeah, I'm curious if they give him the TNT title or if they force him to be part of the Callis family.
Well, you've got 2 options. If you give him the TNT title, that gives you a big happy moment. But the flip side of that is Kyle Fletcher is supposed to be the TNT champion for the rest of time.
Well,
so the other thing is, if you run a story, because we're starting to like to run stories here, with Briscoe in the Callis family briefly, he could start a sleeper cell within the Callis family.
He could. He could be the man that gets into Brian Cage's ear.
Maybe he gets friendly with Takeshita.
Could. Or gets friendly with Okada.
Sure. They actually have some history because of Chaos.
Okada, the Bucks, and Briscoe could end up being the sleeper cell.
I mean, that's one way to take it. You know, the other way, of course, is to let Briscoe get this big moment, which at some point I hope he does.
The other side of if you give the belt to Briscoe at Full Gear, that opens Kyle up for the Continental Classic.
And that also opens Kyle up to a potential world title match down the line with Hangman Page, which would be a certified banger.
Yeah, another certified banger.
You've heard it here first on Till 5 Wrestling. That's what we want.
Well, Kyle just had one at Wrestle Dream.
Well, this time Kyle's going to win the big one.
He wins it on the third one.
Just in time for Jay White to come back and beat him.
Ooh, Jay White and Kyle Fletcher for the title. I like that idea, sir.
There you go.
Well, also in wrestling news, apparently John Cena's won every title belt now.
Hey, congratulations, John Cena. You're the new Intercontinental Champion.